we need to be cautious about how we pray about this issue. If you're saying, God, would you reveal your heart, and should we be caring for children? Well, we already know that, right? We know. I think the prayer should be, how should I specifically be caring for kids?
We have dear friends that have started special needs orphanage in Ukraine, and he spoke with me and was on staff at a large church here in the city and said, hey, you need to not spend time praying about things that are on the Father's heart. Just go for it. And he recommended Fields of the Fatherless by Thomas Davis. And he said, you need to recognize what God already is doing and jump in.
One of the things that was pivotal, we were visiting a lot of churches. And one of the churches we visited, unbeknownst to us, is a church that has taught and preached adoption for many, many years. I didn't realize that until we walked in. I thought, there's some very interesting families here. They're all different colors and different shapes and sizes, and then it began to dawn on me that it was a church that had an enormous number of folks who had adopted, and that was a part of their church culture. And we had very rich discussions about that in our small group, and we began to really think about that, and then ask our group to commit behind us to walk with us as we began to look at adoption. Well, we have 4 biological of our own, and then as we went through the process with DHS, it was a little boggling because you had to determine what kind of kid you would accept. You know, there was an exhaustive checklist that I hadn't thought about. Would you take a kid with special needs? Would you take a kid of a different race? What age? What gender? Would you take sibling sets? And as we began to look through this, we were a little bit appalled that it was sort of a catalog approach, and that actually became more clear later on. So I think we sort of worked our way through it, then we just said, Lord, whatever you send us, just prepare us to be able to handle. The process was just mind-numbingly slow, and lack of communication, and just a very dense, frustrating procedure. And so I was about to throw up my hands and say, you know, just take our name out of the hat. We're tired of waiting. And we were working with a youth group on a Wednesday night, and Christy's phone rang, and she walked over into the corner, and then she's holding up her. What are you talking about? She comes, 3 girls, and I'm saying, what are you? And it dawned on me, it was the call we'd been waiting for months, and there had been no preemptive message. There had been no, hey, we're looking at these. It was just out of the blue.
We've all seen that it brings out the best in you and it brings out the worst in you, so you have to guard against that. It's been quite the process, and we've seen it in our kids as well, the good and the bad, and then just learning to get along. So
it's the most difficult thing we've ever done, bar none. I mean, I think it's put more stress and strain on every aspect of our family. But they're incredible young people, and so one of the best things that we see is this blossoming of who, they're just very, very different kids now than when they came to us.
Different laughs, different personality.
Their humor, and
even though they're sisters, you just, it's amazing.
Totally different people.
And fitting in between all the rest of our kids, and who is friends with who, and who buddies up, and it's really, really been interesting to watch.
I think that you become really tenacious in your prayers, really specific, like we really desire this for this child. Lord, please give us this for this child, either on our part or on their part. And it also makes you almost raw in your awareness of how profound the situation is and important it is. It makes me very angry at a very fundamental level that the church has not taught this well. And until recently, this hasn't been something that's been profoundly important in our life. And so I think somebody's missing the boat. We've been really satisfied in the church to allow the government to take over responsibilities that were clearly articulated for the church. We've been able, I think, to relegate adoption to people who felt called to it, or foster care to those that kind of felt moved. Everyone in the kingdom is called to care for children, period.